What's going on, guys? I just want to go over some of the news today that happened. We had some press conferences from some coaches, some players today, so I'm going to go over some stuff. So defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz had a lot of stuff to say today and a lot of feedback from all the newly acquired players that we did get and some other information as well. So let's get straight to it. Jim Schwartz talked about Jalen Mills saying, it's not really him making, I think, of all the players on this defense, Jalen Mills is going to have the probably less of what he has to do because he's just switching positions. Obviously, he knows the defense, so he has probably a leg up on a lot of people. But Jim Schwartz loves Jalen Mills. He's got great instinct, great vision. Brings an edge to this defense. So I think all of us Eagles fans are kind of happy that he switched from corner to safety, and he thinks he's going to work out very well. So we're pretty excited. I think Jim is pretty excited because Jim Schwartz has been a big fan of Jalen Mills and his craft. I think he's one of the corners on this team that really doesn't give up. There's corners that really give up in games in this league where they give up a big gain from a receiver and they kind of just seem like they're lifeless the rest of the game. But Jalen Mills, if he loses a big, just a big catch or something does happen, which has happened a lot of times, he always fights back. He never gives up. That's the one thing I have to say about Jalen Mills. His personality, his swagger to this team, and like Jim Schwartz says, brings a huge edge. I think he's going to bring a nice extra bit of oomph to this safety position, and it should be nice. I want to see how he covers the field with his feet and see what he does, so I'm pretty excited. So the beat writers talked about the big newly acquired corner in Darius Slade. Now Jim Schwartz says that he'll line up on the best receiver on the field, but if it's not going to be all on Darius Slay. Obviously, when you have Darius Slay, it brings a whole different layer to this team, which Jim Schwartz did say. But it's not going to all be on him. So if Darius Slay actually lines up at nickel and not on the outside, he's expecting some of these nickel cornerbacks to actually play multiple positions and play on the outside as well. Because about this defense, a lot of guys always cross-train. We never really had to worry about that before because we had Malcolm Jenkins here moving all over the place. Hence why we brought in Will Parks and a few other guys, Nicole Roby-Coleman. And you still got a couple players in Avonte Maddox and Creavon LeBlanc. So if you line Darius Slay in the nickel, you have some other guys move around. Now, this all depends on who we're facing, what guys are on the field, receiver-wise, tight ends, whatever. But if you line Darius Slay in the nickel, other nickel cornerbacks are going to have to try to move to the outside for certain plays and kind of be multi-dimensional, which Jim Schwartz did say. So I'm glad that most of these corners, which I knew this was going to happen, most of these corners are going to be learning inside and outside regardless of where they are on the field. When talked about the cornerback 2 spot, the opposite of Darius Slay, Jim Schwartz pretty much said Avonte Maddox, didn't mention Sidney Jones. He mentioned Avonte Maddox because he has played inside, outside, and safety for a little bit of time when Rodney McLeod was injured a couple years back. So he mentioned him, mentioned Creavon LeBlanc as well because he usually is on the inside, but says, at the end of the year last year in the 2019 season, mentioned the Giants game. He played a lot of outside that game. He did deflect a lot of balls that game as well. So there's a lot of moving pieces around this defense. Jim Schwartz says that, moving pieces around makes your defense, you can't focus on one guy playing one position. It's all about everyone being multi-dimensional. Hence why it's great to have corners that have safety background, safety that have corner background. And when you have all those pieces together, and if someone does get hurt, it's like not even a big deal to move anybody around this defense. So with these cornerbacks, he didn't really mention Sidney Jones at all. I don't even think he mentioned him at all. But Avonte Maddox or Creavon LeBlanc are the 2 names we're probably going to have to look out and all of training camp to see what happens there. Now, Jim Schwartz has been really excited about defensive tackle Malik Jackson. Now he becomes the 3rd defensive tackle in this rotation. When you have Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, you have Malik Jackson, Hassan Ridgeway behind him. Now, a beat writer asked if he could get moved around. So to make this front better, if they need a better pass rush, or they can actually add Malik Jackson as defensive end. I actually made a video on this a couple of months ago. There's a rumor that he he might move to defensive end, so you don't have to go after a pass rusher in the offseason. But Malik Jackson, he loves his violent hands. His push-off explosiveness off the ball, but unfortunately he said we didn't see that because he got hurt the first game. But, loves his, he's still one of the best pass rushers in the league as of right now. I think Malik Jackson has a huge chip on his shoulder, but Jim Schwartz has no problem moving tackles to defensive ends or defensive end to tackles. It doesn't matter. They've done it with Brandon Graham a lot of times. Okay, check the Super Bowl. They did it with Brandon Graham. They've moved Fletcher Cox to the outside at defensive end to get a bigger pass rush on the outside to collapse the pocket. So there's no doubt in my mind. I know Jim Schwartz, he doesn't just move secondary guys. He moves the defensive line as well. So if you want to move Malik Jackson to defensive end, and, if Hassan Ridgeway is back there and doing his thing, I'm pretty excited for it. And you know what? The more guys are moved around, the more that everybody knows, injuries shouldn't really be a huge deal, obviously. But, the past few years, that's gotten pretty worse and worse. But when he mentioned Malik Jackson, big smile on his face and moving him all around, he's got no problem with it whatsoever. Talked about losing Malcolm Jenkins, saying, you know what? Losing Malcolm Jenkins, you lose a leader, you lose a guy that can move all over the field. But now because we went into the offseason, we actually grabbed some talented cornerbacks. And now that other guys could move around now. And like I told you, this whole entire video is going to be just guys moving around because that's what he emphasized on everything. Guys will be confident. He says that there are going to be some players on his team that are going to have a lot on their plate. But obviously, the more they have on their plate, the better they're going to be. Throw them into the fire, whoever it is. Will Parks has moved all over the field. Obviously, Darius is going to be moving all over the field. Depending on what offenses we face, personnel that's on the field on the offense, we're going to see what happens. But he's expecting every player to be ready to play multiple positions. Okay, because when you have Malcolm Jenkins and Ronnie McLeod that pretty much moved all over the place, because of these corners were playing average to below average. Now you have a pretty good pass rush that's one of the best in the league. Plus, you get one of the top corners in the league, a top 5 slot corner, and pretty much plug in at the other side of the cornerback position. And Will Parks, he's not just going to be playing safety. He's going to be moving all over the place. So, got to look out for that as well. Jim Schwartz talked about the linebacker position, talked about Jatavis Brown, Davion Taylor, Sean Bradley. Pretty much those 3 names really stuck out to him. Obviously, he said that this linebacker group is very young, which we all know this, very young. There are no veterans besides Nathan Gary, obviously, that has the most experience, that is still learning. But at the same time, saying that all of them can literally, he says that pretty much they have speed. The linebacker position right now, he says the linebacker position right now has a lot of speed. Hadn't seen speed in a linebacker group for a long time. For the past few years, because we really haven't had those speed linebackers. We usually had big guys that were really physical. But he said there's a lot of speed there. So Davion Taylor, TJ Edwards, and Sean Bradley, Jatavis Brown, those 4 guys he kind of did mention, was pretty happy about seeing these guys compete. He's really happy about the competition that's going to come to the linebacker spot in this training camp. So I'm pretty excited about it. Obviously, I think it's the weakest part of this team, but at the same time, we need to see what they can do and hopefully find the right guys to do the job. So Jim Schwartz at the end, this was mostly in the beginning because I kind of wanted to bring this up last, but, virtually they had to see the guys working out, studying the playbook, obviously, the playbook, where defenses are lined up and how to line up and where to go. Obviously, they haven't been on the field yet, okay? They're in the first phase, which is the working out and the conditioning and stuff like that, lifting weights. But he can't wait to get all of these guys, this whole entire defense on the field, see what all these guys have to contribute to this team. And he said that, it's virtually, he thinks it's a different thing. Obviously, it's a different thing to check player progression because, he watched all the players and all the videos of players working out, and everyone was sending everything to Jim Schwartz. And so I think Jim Schwartz is going to have a good time with this defense. He's got a lot of toys to play with for the 2020 season, and it should be really exciting. I think this is going to be one of the best defenses, probably a great defense that we haven't had in a long time. That's not masked by a pass rush. We actually have good corners. We actually have one of the top defensive lines, and safety is a little bit of a question. Obviously, I want to see what Jalen Mills and Ronnie McLeod bring to the table, but at the same time, linebacker is very young, and the more that's on their plate, the better they're going to be, and I can't wait. I'm pretty excited. I was really happy about this press conference. Love Jim Schwartz's press conferences. They're straight to the point. Tells you how everybody is. And I can't really complain at all. So let me know what you guys think about Jim Schwartz's press conference, what you take out of it. Jalen Mills going to safety, Darius Slade moving the guys around, being multidimensional. I think multidimensional is the key word to this defense. And with this pass rush involved with it, I'm hoping to get more picks. I'm hoping that this team actually gets more interceptions this year. I think we ranked, 22nd or 19th, I forgot, in turnovers, which we could do a lot better with what we have right now. So let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. I will see you guys later. Shake Squad up. Fly, fly.